Safety in Venezuela on 2025. Well, today we're going to discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
Welcome again, and today we are going to do an update on the safety situation in Venezuela on 2025. Safety is something that we have discussed regularly here on this channel, on the platform overall, and that my analysis, and I think I'm confident on my analysis, is that Venezuela is not the safest place in the world, but it's way safer than most people take for granted. And I put the charts and the numbers on. I always argue that it's safer than Brazil, Colombia, and Mexico. And most of you, the seasoned audience of this channel, have been on those countries, and some of you have been already in Venezuela. So you know what it is and what it isn't true. And actually, my charts, the charts that come from an NGO, so those are not my numbers, I'm very confident on those numbers, have been used even by Trump himself. Venezuelans' crime rate has going up 66, and he always, pops it up. You know how Trump is. So on that regard, yeah. Now, when we discuss safety about Venezuela, especially for expats, internationals, tourists, people from abroad, you have to make an analysis. So first, regarding random crime, street crime, how is the situation on the ground? Venezuela is fairly safe if you stay on a decent area, if you know what you're doing, and yada yada yada. It's not this mayhem. I mean, regarding safety, you're not gonna get robbed or kidnapped or scopolamine or anything like that. On that regard, Venezuela is fairly safe unless you look for trouble, and that's I have to underline that. So don't look for trouble and you're going to be fine. Stay on a decent middle class area and know what you're doing and you're going to be pretty much fine. Now, the elephant on the room regarding what makes Venezuela not as safe as it should be is the randomness and how arbitrary are the authorities in Venezuela, and I have to call it spade by spade in that regard. Most of the time, you're gonna be fine. Police officers, people on the street. The officers in the street, they're not gonna bother you or anything like that. But there is this randomness element that makes it less safe as desired. So on that regard, and I would say, yeah, many of the problems in Venezuela overall come due to this randomness, how random the authorities and government officials act. I'm talking on the street level, not on the big government level. So on that regard, that would be the first, kind of uncomfortable. Now, the most important thing, especially if you're watching this from abroad, is how safe is for internationals when they are traveling. And the situation is that, yes, and I have to report this, there have been a handful of cases, tens of cases of internationals that have been apprehended in the country. Now, it's not like you're going to show up as an international, they're going to apprehend you. Doesn't work like that. But it's very random. I mean, most of the internationals come and go, and nothing happens, and they have a very pleasant experience, and nothing bad happens. But it's like a black swan event that might happen. So it's low probability with great impact. And actually, there are very famous cases of Americans detained in Venezuela that have been released. Both the Biden and the Trump administration have negotiated in order to be released. Now, most of these people at some moment commit a slight error, or they were on a situation that wasn't desirable to be, and that's how they got in trouble. Still is very random. The rule of thumb is something that I said this many times, is your passport, depending on how good is the diplomatic relationship between the government of your home country and the government right now of Maduro, uh, the safer are you gonna be, and the worse is the diplomatic relationship. Some things might happen. But still, if you are a law-abiding citizen, you should be fine. However, since we have this particular situation, especially after the election, the status quo changed a lot in the country, especially on the on the vibe, on the sentiment. That's something that I've been worrying about. That's why I'm not recommending that much traveling to Venezuela, anything like that, because since the situation is around, most likely nothing will happen. But yet again, it's a black swan event that might happen, and so it's up to you. Now, of course, Venezuela is a moving target. The situation changes basically daily, especially since this particular situation with a military escalation between both the US and Venezuela. And not only the US, but the allies like Argentina, like Ecuador, and some Western countries that also can affect the dynamic if of you as an international within the country. So right now, what I'm saying is just do a standoff. I mean, just please stop, think about the situation. Let's see what happens. It changes daily, and of course, we know that during military escalations, the dynamics change within the country. Now, yet again, Venezuela is very safe. There are not bombs or anything or shootouts on the street. I mean, not kinetic, dangerous activities, but the situation is tense right now. And when we have tense situations, things tend to happen. So right now is I know this is not a very concrete answer on the country and the situation level. Yeah, it's like the Schrodinger's cat. I mean, most likely safe, but things might happen. So that will be all for today. I know it's not very specific, but that's the situation that we have right now for November 2025. Hopefully, the next month or the next year, I will be making an update where things are smoother and the situation is gonna be better. So, thank you again for your attention on this matter, and we'll see each other on the next video.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, venezuelainsider.com. Thanks again and have a nice day.